Hi there, good afternoon. Almost done for the day, almost beer time here. Silvercrest Metals, if it's new to you, it's new to most. It is a story that started in 2015 as a spinco from Silvercrest Mines, which was a good success story in Sonora, Mexico. The first resource on this story came out in February, so that's kind of when the story just got on the radar a little bit. Three things just to take away from context for this story. Grade. We came out with a resource. We have 63 million ounces of silver equivalent, that's gold and silver, at 568 grams a ton. So that is the 7th highest primary silver deposit in the world, and the 4th highest in the Americas. The second part to take away is scale. On our first resource, we had 5 veins that were in that initial resource, and that is of 23 on the property. So we've drilled 11 to date, or partially drilled 11 to date, hit on a high grade on all of those, so hopefully more to come. Our success rate on the drilling side is currently 70%, and we're adding ounces at about 20 cents an ounce, so good scale. All this wouldn't be worth a lot if you didn't have a team that could execute. So Eric Fear, our CEO, is a geologist. He's a mining engineer. He's been a part of building 10 assets. And the best analogy we have is he discovered, permitted, financed, and operated the mine right next door. So we know the neighborhood and the community extremely well. That's Eric right there. And again, he's been a part of 10 mines. So again, Sonora, Mexico is where we're operating in. He's been there for 13 years. So again, very, very strong in the community. This asset is a past producing mine. It was basically from the 1880s to 1930s and 40s. It produced 100 million ounces of silver with an average grade of 1,700 grams per ton. It produced an additional 200,000 ounces of gold at 15 grams a ton. He spent 2.5 years negotiating, dealing with the locals to get this asset. And we closed on that deal in October of 15. That was 1 month before selling the Santa Elena mine, and sold the whole company, Silvercrest Mines, to First Majestic. So Eric's a good deal maker. Silver wasn't doing so well at the time. Sold to First Majestic. We took 23% of their company in that transaction. You can be good and lucky. Hopefully he gets credit for both. Their stock went up 600% in the next 9 months. So our shareholders were quite happy with us, and we started off, and our stock started trading a month later. So again, one of the benefits here of being in a brownfield area is there's 11.5 kilometers of historic underground workings. We've been working to rehab. Gives us a really good understanding of what's been going on top of, obviously, his experience in the neighborhood. In terms of key catalysts, just to get your head wrapped around what the next few months mean for us, we just raised $17 million. We have $21 million in the bank. We have $5.5 million of in-the-money warrants, and if we're lucky, we can get to $3 before the end of the year. There's another $7.8 million to come into the bank.
You said First Majestic went up 800%?
600% in the following 9 months after they acquired our original company, Silvercrest Mines. Silvercrest Metals, this company is the spinco that started with one of the assets that we took out of that transaction. So we're sitting on 21 million of cash plus those in-the-money warrants. We are drilling aggressively right now. We plan to have an updated resource in September. We've put our paperwork in for permits. So again, not in our control per se, but hopefully that is something we're going to advance quite well. We hope to have a PEA out sort of either end of the year or early Q1 to show the economics on this. And again, all of this in a market where we don't need to raise capital. Just a quick bit on what we have going on here. So a very tightly held story. Insiders own 15% of this company. Friends and family own an additional 15%, and then institutions are about just under 40%, as you see there. Market cap, 180, 188. In terms of share price, we're just around the $2 level US. We're starting the process of getting listed on the US big boards. So again, hopefully that can attract a little bit more liquidity and retail in the US market for us. Again, Sonora, Mexico. This is one of the best jurisdictions in Mexico to be operating in. You know, there are certainly better and worse places to be. We've been in that neighborhood for 13 years, very tight with the community. Eric is a rancher from Montana. This is a ranching community, strong social programs in the neighborhood. As you can see with that red circle in the insert there, that is where our asset is. We're 25 kilometers away from First Majestic Santa Elena. That's the one we built. We're also close to Premier Gold's assets as well.
How far are you from the border?
Probably about a three and a half hour drive. What you can see here is a lot of squiggly lines. You can't see it too closely, but again, 23 veins on the property. We have surface rights for about a quarter of it we have surface rights for about 3/4 of it, our own, and then the other part that we don't own, there is 20-year leases with the local ejidos. We employ a significant number of the local ejidos. Again, we deal with the ranchers. We're starting a cattle ranching company to employ the locals, have strong social programs in the area, and also give us a good view on any other properties or in the neighborhood that might be of interest. A little bit on the resource here that came out in February. You can see the top right there, that's the 62.8 million ounces. That average grade is just under 570. It's about 50-50 gold and silver. Everything's within 300 meters of the surface. We've seen traces of base metals here and there around the property, but it hasn't really materialized just yet. The Bobby Canora vein there, as you see, it's 46 of 63 million ounces. And the average grade there is 766. Within Bobby Canora, there's an area called Area 51. It was based on Discovery Hole 51. And that was a 3.4 meter or 3.1 meter width vein at 8.4 kilos. And that Area 51 was probably about 4 or 5 months of drilling work that came together to give us the 32 million ounces at 1 kilo there. Uncut, undiluted, that was 2 kilos. So one of the key advantages from an engineering standpoint is we're looking to develop a drift into that Area 51. It's going to cost us probably about $3 million, 500 to 700 meters long. The drilling we can do from the underground justifies that expense, but our first production, or part of our first production, can come from a 1 kiloton area. Certainly helps with the NPV. Again, this just gives you a sense of that one Bobby Canora vein. And then you can see on the left there, it's Area 51. There was some historic production over the first kilometer there, so the average grade is about 500 grams a ton in that area. You can see that there's an existing adit that's in there. It's been around for over 100 years. Ground conditions are quite fantastic. And the Area 51 there, it was faulted. The old timers never found the offsetting vein, and we did, and that's when we stepped across and found that over 8 kilo hit. Very material discovery for us last week, about 300 meters away, the Bobby Norte vein. We came out with 1.5 meters wide at 1.5 kilos. It's early days. We've only proven out about 200 meters. We can trace it on surface up to 1 kilometer, and we hope to get that kilometer of drilling done before the rainy season and into that September resource. If we're able to engineer that and show some scale with this vein, it could be another source of 200 to 300 tons per day at approximately 1 kilo diluted. So again, on the front end of the production, that's more high-grade ore that we can bring to the front end of the mine life. And 1,000 ton a day mill in the neighborhood of about 50 million of CapEx. I'll kind of hustle along to the catalysts again, just to refresh where we're at. So drilling. We hope to have about 2 to 3 more press releases out in the next couple of months. The updated resource in September. And then again, knock on wood on any sort of permitting update that can give some more de-risking. And then by the end of the year or in Q1, we hope to have a PEA out that can really show some really low CapEx, high production, a high margin business here. So again, in the silver space, we hope to be one of the high margin producers that can de-risk and add value regardless of what's going to happen to the gold and silver price in the next short while. Any questions? Thank you.